everyone, and welcome to another edition of Poetry Tea Time with Read Poetry. My name is Danys Mares, and I work in editorial at Andrews McMeel Publishing. In honor of April being National Poetry Month, AMP and Read Poetry have teamed up to take you behind the curtain of some of our most anticipated new releases to learn more about their creation and inspiration from the authors themselves. Today, we are excited to be joined by the powerhouse poetry duo of S. Kate Williams as they prepare to release their third collection, Before You Know It, this spring on April 2nd, 2024. I'm sure you're just as excited as I am to jump in, so let's get started. Hi, Kevin and Shayla. How are you guys doing today?
Good,
Good,
how
how
are
are
you?
you?
Good, I'm doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. Super
Yeah,
excited to talk and learn a little bit more about Before You Know It.
yeah, we're excited to talk about it. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah. I know the process always seems so long. So when you make it to the end, it's like, whew, here we are. All right. So just to get us kicked off, can you tell us a little bit about Before You Know It, about the inspiration, where did it come from, and how did you get to here?
Yeah, so we had written the first two collections, and with this third one, we kind of wanted to go further back into our past. And as we were kind of talking about what that past looked like, it was very different for both of us. We had a very different upbringing. And so at some point, we were like, why not just tell both sides of our story?
Yeah,
And so that kind of came out of it. So,
Mhm.
I love that. No, I really enjoyed reading it. I love that layout that you guys did, the kind of equal parts showing everything. I think a lot of people are going to find it really relatable. I really loved like the honesty and vulnerability that you both wrote with. So congratulations. It's a really beautiful collection.
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah. So can you talk to us a little bit about what it's like working as a duo? I know most people, when they think of poets, they think of just like one person. So this is like rare and like really special. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think it's a really fun experience. It's a way for us to bond as a couple because it's sharing similar interests, but also I think it makes both of us better writers because we kind of hold each other accountable to you know, put the best out there that we can do. So yeah, it is a very unique experience, but we feel very fortunate that it's something that we're both passionate about and that we are both very like honest and raw with each other in
Yeah,
the feedback and everything.
I love that. So do y'all ever like write together or do you like write separately and then bring it together in the end?
Mostly we write separate
Yeah.
and then come together
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I'm always better at editing his stuff, and he's usually better at editing my stuff
Yeah.
than like
That's a good
us editing
pairing.
our own things.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. A built-in editor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I was saying, this is a really vulnerable and honest piece of work. What do you hope readers take away from this collection?
Definitely that some people find pieces of themselves in it. There's a lot of, overlap and at the same time very individual experiences that a
Yeah.
lot of people can relate to Shayla's upbringing and can't relate to mine or vice versa. And so we hope that there's something in there for everyone, whether they're currently going through it or looking ahead to going through it soon.
Yeah.
And hopefully it takes off a little bit of the pressure that a lot of people feel in that age.
Yeah.
Um, that no one has it all figured out.
Yeah, it kind of addresses the age range between 18 and 28. And I think it's so important for people to know that there's not one right way to grow up and to emerge into adulthood. There's so many right ways, and it's okay if you do it the wrong way too, because we're all still figuring it out no matter how old we are.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I think it's also great for people who've already gone through it. I know speaking for myself, I've like looking back on it now, this speaks so clearly to like so much of what, my 20s was like. And you think that you're the only one going through it. So to like read about somebody else going through that journey and making it out, it's like, okay, I'm not alone. I love that. All right, so let's switch over a little bit and talk a bit more about inspiration, just in general, about writing. What would you say is your favorite thing to write about?
Yeah, I think with this book, something that actually I started with was I thought it would be really interesting to write about something more mundane
Mhm.
in talking about like the financial situation.
Yeah,
A lot of people, grow up more fortunate than others, and sometimes it's like a taboo thing to talk about finance. And so I found that really interesting and compelling to like write a poem about numbers, you know. Sounds like the least interesting thing ever, but I don't know, it was kind of fun and kind of got something off my chest with that. So
Yeah, I love that.
I really enjoy writing about the people in my life, writing poems either about lessons I've learned from them or just what they mean to me. I think that it's a way for me to show them how much I love them.
Mhm. I love that. And would you say, do you have like a poem or a book of poetry that you read growing up or like in your adolescence or young adulthood that made you want to become a writer?
I don't know about like becoming a writer, but definitely um, a book that helped inspire me in becoming more of a poet
Mhm.
is While We're Here by Lisa Jade.
Ooh,
Uh, she's an Australian poet and she just has very that's the how would you describe it? I'm flustering here. Um,
she's very sensitive and just the way that she looks at the world is through a very kind of romantic eye and romantic lens,
yeah,
yeah,
kind of making beauty out of the small things.
yeah, exactly.
I love that. And I can see that inspiration in the way that you write also.
Hmm.
What about you, Kevin? Did you have anything?
Yeah, I think one of the first big poems for me was If by Rudyard Kipling was kind of one of those that really got me. And then William Stafford is another good go-to that he speaks in very simple language, but
Um,
um, you get such a profound impact from his words. Kind of Mary Oliver as well,
yeah,
that they don't have to use inaccessible language to relate to you. So,
perfect. That sounds amazing. Shayla, I think you mentioned that there's a poem that you kind of go back to for inspiration. Is there one that you'd like to share with us?
Sure, yeah. From While We're Here, um, Lisa has a poem that goes, hold them, that aching soul, their body buckling forward, palms splayed, hands raised in surrender. Hold them, that lost one, seeking shelter from the storm, buried behind their tender ribs, from the tempest stirring beneath their skull. Hold them, that person staring, vision blurring, mouthing help back to you in your bedroom mirror. Hold them, don't you dare let them go. Um, and I find that to be a really powerful poem because it reminds me that it's so easy to treat others with compassion,
Mhm.
and to not do the same to yourself. And so through that poem until the end, thinking that it's talking about somebody else until it talks about, looking at yourself in your mirror. It's
Mm,
just like a really powerful reminder to treat yourself the same way you would treat your friends.
yeah, I love that. I think you also had a couple in here, those that are titled like Mirror, Part One and Part Two.
oh yeah,
That
yeah,
your section? Yeah, I think they kind of reminded me of that. Those are really good.
yeah,
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. But let's
Yeah.
jump into some tips. We know that Read Poetry is a great place for other writers and poets to go for inspiration and to just get a spark of creativity. So, do you have any tips for new poets or new writers just looking to start?
yeah. I think the key is just writing as much as you can. I think you can only get better by writing and writing and writing.
Yeah.
The more you have under your belt, the better and better you get. And usually, when you start out, you aren't amazing. So, the faster you can get past that, the faster you can get to a point where you're happy with your own work and celebrating your own work and putting it out there in as many ways as possible, sharing it with as many people as you can, whether that's TikTok, Instagram, read poetry. We have all these different avenues these days.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that. Just write. Don't stop writing.
Yeah.
And don't let being bad stop you from writing. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that, Shayla?
I think just to like be humble, if there's somebody who you are looking to get advice from, And if they are, telling you things that maybe are hard to hear, it's easy to, especially with poetry, have your ego in it, but to be able to look at your work critically through the eyes of a third person, it's easy because poetry can be so emotional, but if you really want to like get better and put yourself out there, it's important to kind of have the emotional eye and then the like critical logical eye to look at it as well.
Yeah, that's smart. And so after we've done all the writing and we've written and written and written and written, I think we all know we hit a wall. How
Yeah.
do you have any tips for getting past writer's block?
Yeah, I think ironically, the tip to get past writer's block is to stop writing,
Yeah.
to go and listen to music, to go on a walk out in nature and let yourself feel and think about things, and just giving yourself the time and space to be with yourself in your own thoughts without the distraction of like a podcast or anything. Just listening to music, doing anything to just get yourself out there and think about the world.
I love that.
Yeah, I would agree with all of that.
Yeah, great advice. And what about, because I know the world can be so heavy and we're all so busy, how do you write through like burnout and exhaustion and loneliness? How do you turn that into poetry and art?
Oh, are you?
Either one.
I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I can go into it. So I think the key is writing as a means to express what you're feeling inside. And so if you're feeling lonely, then write about that loneliness. Like go toward that feeling and explore it.
Mm,
Like writing about financial
yeah.
hard times and student loans and stuff. It feels mundane, but maybe it feels therapeutic once you're really like putting it onto paper.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
I think that like reminded me of the poem about I think you're sitting in the financial aid office. Like that brought me back like 12 years ago. I'm like, oh my God. It was so triggering. And I was like, but in a good way, in a good way. And like you forget how many people have also sat in that office in that moment. And it feels mundane, but it's such a unfortunately a universal experience, you know? So definitely, right through that, you never know who needs to see themselves in that particular moment, you know?
Absolutely.
I love that. And so what would you say is the best piece of writing advice that you've received that you'd like to pay it forward with?
Yeah, unless you had something.
You can go first.
I think the best thing is to just keep your mind open to um, anything going on in your world, letting your thoughts, your opinions change, listening to everyone around you and everything going on around you. You never know what's gonna like really speak to you in a certain way and how that's gonna like nestle into you and then come through in your writing.
I think for me, the two pieces of advice that really helped me start writing and stay committed to it is that every first draft is perfect because all it needs to do is exist. And um, and the other thing, it's a little bit silly. I think I saw it on Pinterest at one point and was like, this can't be true, but I have to try it. Is if you're kind of constantly like critiquing and like kind of getting started with writing and then stopping or continuing to revise it and not really moving forward, write in Comic Sans because it's just like, I don't know, a very non-judgmental like
Yeah.
font. And I was like, there's no way that that's gonna help like get me to like actually get started, and it did. And
I love that. It like takes a little bit of the seriousness out of it.
yeah,
Like be in it.
yeah.
I love that. That's all really great advice. Thank you so much for sharing. But before I let you guys go, I would really love it. I know our readers and viewers would really love it if you could share one of your pieces with us. So can you tell us a little bit about what you've chosen and before you jump in?
Yeah. Do you want to read it?
I can.
Sure.
I guess it's one that
What
I
is your
wrote.
poem?
So it's actually this poem was born out of a conversation I had with my therapist a few years ago. And I don't even quite remember what we were talking about, but I was just so nervous about something to do with like I think I would like I don't remember. I was just really nervous about something,
Not trusting yourself.
not trusting myself, kind of second guessing myself. And she said, you know, there are so many women before you who have done this, that there's an ancient wisdom in your body that you just need to rely on because it's there, it's been there for generations, and you will know what to do when the time comes. So just listen to your ancient wisdom. And that kind of was like a life-changing like sentence for me. So that's where this poem comes from. The universe is inside you. Oh yes, dear. The vast expanse of the known and unknown, the galaxies far and wide, the deep roots of the trees, the power of the stars, the currents of the oceans are all things that make up you. Your body is made of ancient wisdom.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And thank you both so much for joining us today. This has been such a lovely conversation. It was so
Yeah.
good to finally meet you both.
You know.
And just a reminder for everybody watching, before you know it comes out from now, it's next week. So that's very exciting. How are you guys feeling?
Excited.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You guys
definitely.
have a tradition because now this is book 3. Very
Oh, I
exciting.
know.
You guys have any kind of a tradition for a pub date that you do to celebrate?
I think we usually go out to dinner
Yeah.
and use it as an excuse to go out to dinner a few times during that week. We don't have to
Yes, celebrate.
cook.
It's a lot of work that goes into a book. Well, I hope you guys have so much great food next week because you definitely earned it with this one. Really great collection. Thank you so much again for talking with us today.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.